well-being with the 100,000 crores, including 35,000 crores for the vaccine, the inclusive development around urban clean India, the planet, the vehicle scrapping, the focus on human capital and the financial sector, the infrastructure piece on roads and railways, the focus on innovation and R&D, along with all of the stuff that they've done for small businesses as well as for foreign direct investment, and not really tinkering with the taxpayer, and hopefully for elderly parents like mine, not exempting them from taxes. I think the whole focus has been super balanced, and a focus on the fundamentals of health, of infrastructure, of agriculture. Because when you focus on the fundamentals, you're really thinking about how do you revive the economy for long-term sustainable growth. And when you think about all the measures that have been put down around, even the IMF forecasting that this could be a good year, getting back to, double-digit GDP growth rate, I think it's been fantastic from that perspective.
Yeah, and also a reminder for all of us, like you're saying rightfully, that we are a country of 1.3 billion people and the growth has to be equitable. And I think there was a direction to that. With that, Umang, I also want to ask you, as you've been one of the early champions of the digital internet economy and in India, I want to ask, what are some of the things, are there some of the things that you would expect during the course of the year that the government should be looking at? Because, we're hearing, at least from the startup ecosystems, that there's some things that we wanted to hear about, but we didn't this year.
Yeah, I think, again, there are a couple of things that they've done, right? There's been a tax holiday for businesses. They've extended that by more than a year. They've given capital gains exemptions to startups, have also been exempted by more than a year. And there's been a lot of focus on the Atmanirbhar Bharat Yojana with an additional funding of about 65,000 crores. I think over the next few years or over the next 12 months, first, I would love for us to get back to office, right? What I would have hoped was, the 35,000 crores is great for COVID, but a lot of us in the ecosystem can afford it. And I'd love to see the vaccine getting, more generally available faster because we're very assessment as well. So that's the first thing. I think in terms of ease of doing business, a lot of good elements have come into play in this budget, whether it is around NRIs, tax holidays, friendlier tax regimes, swifter systems for resolution, right, in terms of what's been going on. But I would just like to see a further boost to the MSME, because I think, we talk about startups and we are selfish in our own right, but the real economy, even today, when you think about GDP and who's impacted the most, it's the small businesses that haven't really recovered, right? And I would love to see a further emphasis on small businesses, because the moment those businesses that contribute to over 30% of GDP start coming back, expenditure comes in, domestic consumption gets driven, right? And domestic consumption is what we startups harp on, right? So at a high level, I'd love to see that happen.
Yeah, and also MSMEs contribute to our employment, which is again a pressing need of our country right now.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing that excites me, Shraddha, about this budget, while of course the Bhai Khata was not used, it was a tablet, it was a digital budget, but the fact that there's going to be a digital census, data, that to real identity-based data happening on the census for the first time. I think the moment you add it to the UPI stack, the moment you add it to the healthcare stack that's being developed, there's a lot of fluidity that you could bring in terms of just onboarding customers, ease of doing business, transactions. So I feel it's the right move. Of course, the devil is in the detail in the implementations. I'd love to see that identity becoming pervasive, so you don't have to sign on through other mechanisms, but literally through that one mechanism. Whether you can link that further to your Aadhaar is another idea that can get extended. But I'd love to see some of that central infrastructure come out, because the focus on fintech is clearly there. The emphasis on the development financial institution that they are starting, the two banks getting public sector banks getting privatized. I'd love to see some big names there as well, because that's really putting muscle behind where the voice of the government is. But the intent is very clear. I'd love to see all of this getting implemented.
No. Before I let you go, Umang, I want to ask you, what is in store in 2021 for you, for DailyHunt for you?
So at DailyHunt, I think we're really focused on two things, right? One is going further and further into Bharat across our core value proposition of local language content. And the second is really exploring the short video ecosystem with Josh. I think we've had an early big momentum, but I think we look at this year as being transformative because we now have an opportunity to really build on that foundation and create a family of apps, and really go down the path of really thinking about how we would capture the mind share, the time share, and the revenue share of local language audiences across tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 India across this family of apps. And so we're really excited and energized about that journey. And I can't wait to get back to the office.
All the very best. Look forward to having continued conversation through the year. Thank you.